evening to you, ladies and gentlemen. We thank you for joining us in this edition of the Primetime Newscast on Equinox Television. The President of the Republic of the country validates the decision of the upper and lower houses of Parliament to extend the mandate of MPs in the country. Another decree that was made public today in the country has simply extended the mandate of municipal councilors across the national territory. We'll tell you more in this edition of the news. Also ahead, we talk about elections. Cameroon that has indicated that the socio-political crisis in the two Anglophone regions of the country is not in any way going to perturb the holding of elections, especially in the conflict-hit parts of the northwest and the southwest regions of the country. Those are headlines. We shall be right back with the details. Stay with us. Good evening to you once again, ladies and gentlemen. We thank you so much for joining us in this edition of the Primetime Newscast on Equinox Television. Let's begin right away with the case of a child theft here in the economic capital, Douala, precisely at the Mbopi Baptist Hospital. Little Joshua that was stolen by unknown man who claimed to be the father of the baby. Thanks to security guards on duty, the baby was intercepted while the man has been detained by elements of the 6th Police District in the country's economic capital, Douala. Sumanji Kangebru tells us more in this report.
Little Joshua would have grown up without the knowledge of his parents after an attempt was made on his life Wednesday at the Mbopi Baptist Hospital.
I was in the room this morning. A guy entered, opened his door, closed the door back and went out with a lot of confidence. He was singing one song, "Lord, you are the most high." I was more interested in the song because the song that my husband and I love so much. So the guy went to the next room and just considered that it was a cleaner here because he was wearing something dark. I did not suspect the guy. So I decided to go and bathe before I come back. But when I went to the bathroom, something told me to come back instead and take breakfast because the guy, this child ate a lot, he sucked a lot in the night. I went now, I took my flask and went to buy tea and bread. When I went outside, my spirit was really disturbed because I knew I was not supposed to leave the child alone.
The vigilance of the security at the gates was also lauded, as it was thanks to them that little Joshua wasn't taken away.
You be the part for the picking. He said, no, my brother be part for the picking. If you get contact code, the part for the picking come for you, then allow you go with the picking. He said, you know, get phone, you know, get no contact. I said, okay, if you don't get contact, I'm saying no one, you don't get to go with this picking. Till the part for the picking will come. He said, let's even a woman for pass or for Bonaberi for deeper life. No, not in the choices picking are your own. You don't get to cross, go with the picking. Bring back the picking. When your brother come for you, find you. You go show you who say you, the place you don't keep you, and if you go with the picking.
Comfort, Joshua's mom tells us that even before the incident should occur, she wasn't comfortable as she went down to get some food.
While standing there, something told me to turn left. When I turned left, I saw that guy, the guy holding this baby. I could recognize the baby because of this dress, but I could not talk with a lot of certainty because these dresses are many. People buy them every day. And then also the child, the child was not putting on any cap. The child, the boy now was using his wrapper to cover the child's head, and then the boy was really in the head. He was like walking very, very fast. He was already taking the corner. Where the population was going, I was crying. They were like, "Mom, calm down, calm down." When I looked from afar, I saw that I'd already caught the guy, bringing the guy back with the baby on his hand. He was carrying the baby, and that was how I got back my child.
Joshua, should be recalled, was born at 7 a.m. on June 10.
And now we talk about victims of the Zeka train accident that are still to be rendered justice. Close to 2 years after the accident took place, the Zeka Court of First Instance hearing the case pitting the victims of the train accident and KMER is still to decide on the verdict. It should be noted that the defense lawyers say that the accused is doing all it can to prolong the hearing as far as the case is concerned. Let's have the details in the following report following the hearing that took place yesterday in the central region of Cameroon. The Zeka Court of First Instance, Tuesday, July 10th, The scores of victims of the October 21st Ezeka train accident and lawyers are gathered, expecting the verdict of the case between them and KMER. But they meet another surprising twist, and the case is again postponed to August 8th, 2018. This is the 8th time hearing in the case is taking place, but it seems deliberations will start all over again, given that the accused suddenly presented new lawyers from France unannounced. The defense counsel says that it is a calculated strategy by KMER to retard the pronouncement of the verdict. Another issue raised by the accident victims and the lawyers is the absence of two key actors on the side of the accused: the train operator and one of the locomotive engineers who were absent in court Tuesday. Only 11 out of the 13 expected accused were present in court. The defense team is suspecting that they might have traveled abroad to prolong the hearing. Critics had contested official figures advanced by the government, which put the death toll at less than 100. According to them, hundreds of lives perished in the October 2016 disaster, and close to 2 years after, the affected families and individuals are still to be rendered justice. The defense team is hoping that the court is going to be ruling on the matter during the next hearing. And still in the central region of Cameroon, ELECAM officials have maintained that the socio-political unrest rocking the northwest and the southwest regions of the country would not stop the holding of the presidential election come October 7th, 2018. According to the Assistant Directorate General of Elections Cameroon, the government would play its role in maintaining security and a hitch-free election. Our reporter Armstrong Fomisanda reports that ELECAM is yet to begin receiving documents or files of the various aspiring candidates. His report.
Presidential hopefuls and political parties in Cameroon are still to begin knocking the doors of the Directorate General of Elections Cameroon and regional branches to submit their files ahead of the October 7th presidential elections.
As a partner strategic administration.
At the ELECAM head office in Yaoundé, officials are still mobilizing data and expecting documents from aspirants. To the Assistant Director General of ELECAM, the holding of elections in the northwest and southwest region is a certainty.
Qu'est-ce qui va empêcher qu'il y ait élection là-bas? C'est une question de sécurité.
What will stop elections from taking place in that part of the country? It is the issue of security, and government will take all measures to ensure that elections hold in the northwest and southwest region.
Les éléments qui permettront donc à l'État d'assurer la sécurité.
Elections materials are also ready. The voters' registration closed, but the officials are still to make public the exact number of enrolled voters.
Lorsqu'on inscrit, il faut consolider le fichier. Il faut faire le toilettage du fichier.
After registration, the voters' register needs to be reviewed. They are newly registered voters whose names needs to be duly regularized. We also have cases of voters who have changed their initial polling stations. So it is difficult to tell the exact number of voters when this process is not yet completed.
Les inscrits, donc on ne peut pas vous dire exactement tant qu'on n'a pas fini de toiletter ce fichier électoral.
Even though elections have been convened for October 7, the fever is yet to be felt, and the question of transparency and insecurity in some parts of Cameroon a major preoccupation.
That is for me, Sanda, the reporting now. It was initially speculations and allegations, but the information is now confirmed. MPs would have to stay in office for 1 more year before election finally take place. This follows today's decision by the President of the Republic of the country to prolong the mandate of MPs across the national territory. The law that was, so the bill that was adopted in the lower and upper houses of Parliament have simply been promulgated into law by the head of state. In a presidential decree today still, the head of state has equally extended the mandate of municipal councilors across the national territory. We of course will be telling you more on that in our subsequent newscast. Now, the National Anti-Corruption Commission, KONAC, is stepping up the fight against corruption in public institutions across the national territory. It launched a sensitization campaign in the country's economic capital, Douala, today, especially in public administrators, and there were users as well as those that have been fighting against corruption across the national territory. Babla Jonathan spoke with the president of the National Anti-Corruption Commission and other actors involved in the sectors. He compiled this report.
From the Littoral Governor's Office in Bonanjo through different public service institutions in Cameroon's economic capital, Douala, officials and down-the-line employees of the National Anti-Corruption Commission, KMER, when preaching one message.
We cannot progress, we cannot develop, we cannot build the country, we cannot build our structure if we continue with corruption. That's why we also decided to hang some indications showing that public service is free of charge. So we think that it is not a joke, and we think also that those who are civil servants must know that they are there so as to serve the country, so as to serve the public, so as to serve the nation, not to serve themselves.
The message of the KMER president, Reverend Dieudonné Massigams, and his collaborators also called on public service users to denounce all acts of corruption.
And what we have to do is to be together, and we appreciate what the General Secretary of Littoral Region has done. We appreciate also the contribution of delegate of government, so to support really what we are doing today. And we think that Cameroonians are ready today to say no to corruption.
Some public service users who spoke to EQUINOXE television said the initiative is laudable but will not yield the desired result without an effective and constant follow-up.
And on to something else, families with children on holiday say that the management of kids, especially during this period, is very, very difficult. Some families that are financially viable say that they have to adjust household budget to be able to meet up with the day-to-day needs of the holiday makers, while those with less have to manage with the little that they have. We visited two different families and compiled this report, or a reporter's Manjika and Gabriel visited some families and now tells us more in the following story.
The holiday period usually requires that parents add an extra effort to take care of their children. Unfortunately, while some have enough, others are simply managing. At the Tase family residence in the Makepe Misoke neighborhood, Douala 5, we are told the children don't have their required 3 square meals as after their breakfast to keep them moving until evening when they get their supper, they take popo as their lunch. For Mama and Derance Tase, I don't even know what to tell you because things are very hard. We go out to work, but it's not moving. In fact, the country is very hard. Apart from the lack of 3 square meals, these children sit indoors throughout the day. At the Bonamusadi neighborhood, we fell on the Bambots family. Financially upright and children on holidays have several ways to catch fun. As a result of the holidays, we are told the budget has also increased.
You know, parents always prepare because the holiday coming like that, you know that it's not school, you have to save some money for them to take them out to pay, because cultural center is not free, the sport is not free, all those things you have to prepare, and then you use also your own capacity of economic to meet up.
But apart from the normal playing in the house, these children have to learn too.
Having the children the whole day is not that easy. You have to organize yourself to take them from one place to another. For instance, in the morning, after breakfast, you have to take them to sport. After the sport, you have to take them to the French Cultural Center, which is not just near the house.
The head of the family says, as part of ensuring that the children aren't playing rough, he watches them closely.
I always be with them, I play with them, I ask them questions. So I know all their mentality, like at home we are together. Nobody live for another person.
It is also a time for the kids to go back to the drawing board as they struggle to keep their talents.
And on to something else, still in relation to the summer holidays in Cameroon. Inhabitants of Mora in the Mayo-Sava division of the far north region of the country say that peace and security are gradually being restored in the locality, reason why they have organized holiday football tournament to be able to keep the youth busy. They wish that the military and local vigilante group members keep them secured from Boko Haram atrocities. Innocent as it tells us more in this report.
These are voices of young people residing in Mora in the Mayo-Sava division and those from Kolofata, far north region, displaced by atrocities designed by the barbaric jihadist sect Boko Haram for several years now. They feel the return of peace and security. Hundreds of these youths can now engage in public activities deprived them for years, like football tournaments by Boko Haram. It was a great moment to them as they witnessed the launching of the special edition of the Holidays Football Tournament, with the ball set rolling by the senior divisional officer for the Mayo-Sava division, Raymond Roxbo. 14 teams constitute the one-month inter-quarter football tournament, which aims at reuniting and animating lives of the youths who have been in tears bacalés. Security was heightened to the brim during the opening encounter between Total FC and Walade Football Club. It is expected to prevail throughout the competition. The military is on standby, as well as members of the local vigilante committee, with Madame Hawa, mother of 7 children, determined to fight back Boko Haram terrorists with her giant firearm for the safety of these youths and young players. The opening game of the Mora Football Inter-Quarter Tournament saw Walade Football Club beating Total FC 1-0.
That is the situation in the far north region of the country, and as it's been a tradition on the primetime newscast on EQUINOXE television, Simanji Gabriel in just few seconds from now is going to be taking us to Russia. Stay with us. We thank you so much for joining us in this sports segment on the primetime newscast on EQUINOXE television. Simanji Gabriel, good evening. Thank you for coming.
Good evening, Emi, and thank you for thanking me.
Thank you so much. The first finalist of the World Cup taking place in Russia is already known. It is France, following their encounter yesterday with Belgium. But another crucial encounter is going to be taking place in just a few minutes from now. It's going to be pitting England and Croatia. What are your expectations as far as this encounter is concerned?
Well, it is the expectations that many people will be expecting. I can't really say that I'm expecting much, but just to know that This far, we are praying for the best side to win the match of this evening. The best side of the competition is to win the encounter this evening, and maybe for us to go head-to-head between the two teams that will be meeting in some few minutes time from now. That is Croatia and England. If we have to go head-to-head, we have England that have got an upper hand in terms of the victories over Croatia, their opponents of the day. Croatia has 2 wins this far and just 1 draw, that is including all international. So if we have to go back to record books, we want to say that England will definitely win the day, but that is not going to
it's
be
uncertain because the game of football, or the game of football, is unpredictable.
We usually talk about records, and it is true that records that we see England is up, but without that we can actually say that the match will be decided on the pitch of play. And
of course the strides of England so far, like you were indicating, at the World Cup tournament. Very good. And just to note, as you put it, England will be at the World Cup for a 3rd time. That is the semi-finals for the 3rd time. This evening will be the 3rd time that are appearing at the level of the semi-finals. And from our table, you will see that England first of all played at the semi-finals of a World Cup in 1966, and there they defeated Portugal by 2-1. And in 1990, well, the 1990 was the first, and 1966 was the last time they appeared at the semi-finals. So in 1990, it was against West Germany during regular play time, 1-1, when England finally lost to West Germany on penalty shootout, 4-3. And in 1966, that was the last time they appeared at the semi-finals, and that was the year England also won the cup, as they defeated their opponent Portugal by 2-1, because after the semi-finals they went ahead to win the trophy, and that was the only World Cup trophy that England is keeping till date. They are heading towards that. Many people think that history might be also on the side of English football this year, because the last time England won the World Cup, there were things that happened, and almost the same things are repeating themselves this year. We have for likes Chelsea finishing fifth in the English Premier League, a team like Burnley qualifying for the European stage, and Manchester City winning the title in England, and also Real Madrid also not picking up winning a European Championship. So all of these things are just happening just like as they happened in 1966. Many people are hoping that maybe this is the year for England to win the World Cup. Well, our fingers are crossed. We can't say that they are going to win. After this game of today, we'll see what will happen tomorrow. Fingers are crossed, of course. Just to note as well that Croatia has a good number of top players that England has to look out for. Yes, Croatia has 2 key players, but this evening we are going to talk about this guy. He is the captain of Croatia. They call him Luka Modric. He has scored 2 goals this far since the World Cup started, giving 1 assist. And in terms of accuracy in his shot, he has 40%, 83% pass accuracy. There is another danger man that they call Rakitic in terms of the Croatian national football team this evening. But notwithstanding that, Croatia will have a good up front. We have Perisic, we have Mandzukic, who are all of those persons that will lead the front of Croatia. But it should be noted, Mimi, that Croatia, if they qualify, it will be the first time they will be playing at a World Cup finals. They have never played the World Cup finals, and England, they have at least tasted. It was the same thing would have happened there yesterday if Belgium defeated France. It would have been the first time that let me say Belgium and Croatia meet at the finals. The first time that 2 finalists are meeting that have never won the trophy. But the temperature was changed yesterday when France, got a better part of Belgium yesterday. We are coming back to that. And of course, what can we retain from that encounter between France and Belgium yesterday evening? It was a very, very tough match. It was an interesting game between the Les Bleus of France and the Red Devils of Belgium. It should be noted that it is a match that many people were expecting. The expectations were much, and of course, many people knew that certainly because Belgium had scored more goals in the course of this competition, they were just going to finish up with Les Bleus de France. But it was 1 goal that brought the difference. 1 goal from Umtiti, who is a Cameroonian. He is just one person who did that heading, and of course when he headed that ball in, France decided to play defense. And just to note that in 1998, when France decided to play the defense style of game, they ended up picking up the trophy in their own backyard. So who knows, maybe the tactic of Didier Deschamps, score
come back behind and defend. Be rest assured that nobody will pass, and that is the secret of France. That is how they defeated Belgium yesterday by 1-0.
And another issue that caught my attention was the celebration. France celebrated as though they have won the competition.
Yeah, you see, you could see the street of France. It was really, really a big day for the French men and, of course, French women, supporters. All of them were on the street jubilating that the team has crossed to the finals. And just to note that France has now reached the finals of the World Cup 3 times. They are the only side that have attained this record since winning in 1998 and losing in 2006 to Italy, and of course now 2018. So France is the only country in 20 years that has appeared at the World Cup finals on 3 occasions. So I'm sure it was enough reason for their fans to jubilate. You know, their president Emmanuel Macron too was present at the St. Petersburg playground yesterday to support his guys. It was a good one. We hope they are going to pick up and continue to win.
And of course, one person that was spectacular or remarkable performance has left many talking about his Umtiti, who scored the goal for France.
Now,
tell us more about him.
Umtiti becomes just one of the 3rd defenders to have scored for France in the same World Cup. We had in 1998, there were 3 defenders who scored for France the year that France won that World Cup. We had the likes of Lizarazu, we have the like of Laurent Blanc and Lilian Thuram. They are the first 3 defenders who scored in a single World Cup in France. This time around in France, we have Umtiti, who has included his name to that record, because we have 3 defenders from France who have scored goals this far. We have Pavard, we have Raphael Varane, and Samuel Umtiti. They are the 3 that is a trio who have scored 3 goals. They are just imitating from their big brothers, the likes of Lizarazu, Laurent Blanc, and even Lilian Thuram. So they enter the record books of 3 defenders scoring in one single edition of the World Cup.
And one person who is equally entering history book is Mbappe.
Mbappe becomes the youngest player to appear at a World Cup finals. He's just 19 years. He started his football just like that. You know, he didn't have any destination. I'm sure if you ask Mbappe some years back if he thinks he could play or appear in a World Cup finals, maybe that would have been his dream or his wish. But this time around, it is a dream come true. Yes. Sure. So Mbappe is the youngest player to appear at a World Cup this time around.
And let's talk about the road to the finals, and of course this day that is equally a historic one as far as World Cup competitions are concerned.
The road to the finals, on our table, you will see that we already know one of the finalists on the table. We're going to show you. France is sure to play the finals. Who is going to beat with France? Belgium, though defeated, they still remain in Russia because they have a classification match to play. Now we are going to know between Croatia and England, the 2 teams, the country that will join France and the country that will play against Belgium in the 3rd place match. That will be coming up later this week. Now, that is the road to the finals. On this day in history, we enter on the last page. Maybe it's just another little aspect of the World Cup that we decided to bring. This day, in 2010, the Spanish football team lifted the trophy in South Africa. Remember, it was the first World Cup to be hosted by by an African country, and it was South Africa that went to hosted that World Cup in Africa. So it is a day in history that the Spanish national football team will be remembering as they lifted that trophy in South Africa. It was the first World Cup that we were hosting, or they were hosting in South Africa. Maybe our technician will show us that picture of the captain of Spain. That is by then we have Iniesta, who was lifting that trophy in South Africa. It is a memorable day for the Spanish side today. It is on this day that they won the cup out there in South Africa, the first to be hosted by an African country.
And we come to our local matches. Before we go, Manjika and Gabriel, the 30 matches of the League One Championship took place in stadiums across the country today. The battle for supremacy that has continued. Cotton Sports that is battling to maintain that lead position. What do you have to say about the matches that took place today?
Well, we were supposed to have some mathematical games today, but unfortunately it didn't work that way, because a defeat for UMS of Loom and a victory for Cotton Sport this afternoon would have initially been clear, would have been clear that Cotton Sport is the champions of Cameroon some 4 days to the end of the championship. But unfortunately, or 5 days to the end of the championship, unfortunately, Cotton Sport rattled their opponents, Municipal, at home 4-0. But UMS also had a very nice game against Abonnez. They were playing a 9-man Abonnez in away in Yaoundé. UMS beat Abonnez 2-0. So that gap is not still really distant. So Cotton Sport will need to win their next match, and expecting UMS to lose for them to see whether they can be crowned champions of Cameroon. But to know that they were good results, we have the likes of Yafut, or we have the likes of Colomda beat Fovo 1-0, Bambutu, Stade Rennais 1-1, Union of Douala and Feature, or IS Fortuna, sorry, played a 2-2 tie, and Astra beat Dragon 2-0. So Cotton Sports remains top on the league table, even though they have the hopes that they are going to be the champions. We have 5 days to the end.
That's supremacy.
Yeah.
And finally, we have the squabble, as many have put it, between the Cameroon Football Federation and striker Njie Clinton, that has actually replied to the quarrel that was given or presented to him by the Cameroon Football Federation, indicating that he was taken by surprise when a personal document that was given to him was found circulating on social media. He says that it is a privilege for him to carry or wear the jersey of the national football team. What do you have to say about that, the response of Njie Clinton, as far as the querulator of the Cameroon Football Federation is concerned?
I want to first of all say that he was very gentle in his approach, and he was very, very clear. And you know, when we go through the reply or response of Njie Clinton to the letter, the quarrel letter he was giving, it was very clear that maybe he's innocent, and there's some little confusion there, because he claimed, or Njie, according to his response, he was with 5 Collins in the same room. So he's not even aware when 2 girls or ladies came up with the room and there was a squabble.
As indicated in the letter. As indicated,
yeah. So Njie Clinton is very clear. He says he's going to answer to the quarrel letter, but just to know that he's very, very happy to continue putting on the green, red, yellow colors of Cameroon. So I was very happy with his response. He was not like so sarcastic to say that, oh, after all, we should go away, all of that. No, he was very, very calm and polite. And I'm sure Martin Etonge, who handed that quarrel letter, will also have time to read the response from Njie, and we hope that things will work out.
Digest it.
Many people were thinking, many people were thinking that maybe that is a leeway out for Njie, but we hope.
Thank you so much, Manji Kangebre, for joining us. Unfortunately, we are not going to be having the second part of the news tonight. Tomorrow is another day. We thank you so much, televiewers, for joining us in this edition of the Primetime Newscast on Equinox Television. Wishing you a blessed day in the company of our programs. Until we meet again, goodbye.